Hello, this is Venetia Ramsey from Scrapworx. Thank you for joining me for our It's the Season online event. We'll be using our brand new collection to create this double page layout. So we kickstart the event with a very nice, I think, double page layout using lots of pattern papers, lots of layering, and lots of little clusters. Okay, I'm going to quickly run through what you need to be able to complete this page. I'm going to work with our full pack and our essentials pack. From the full pack, the pattern papers that you're going to need, you need the page called All is Bright. You need both pages that have been labeled Season to be Jolly, okay, this one. You need both pages called Sparkle and Shine. Remember, we're working from the full pack, okay? From the essentials pack, we're going to need the front cover. You're going to need a December to Remember, Joy to the World, Holiday Favorites, Christmas Smiles, Countdown to Christmas, and Ho Ho Ho. For your background, you're going to need 2 pieces of craft paper. I have already inked around the edges, all my patterns, all my embellishments, everything like that. I've inked around the edges using ground espresso distress oxide ink, okay, a domed foam and a blending tool. In the way of photographs for today's class, I've used 4 photographs which measure 8 centimeters by 10 centimeters, so I'm using portrait, okay, and 1 photograph landscape measuring 15 by 10. So you will need to cut 4 pieces of your light cardstock. I am using white that I've inked around the edges with brown. So you need to cut 4 pieces of your lightest color cardstock. You need 8.5 by 10.5. and 1 that measures 15.5 by 10.5. Out of your darker cardstock, where I'm using a very dark brown, you're going to need 4 pieces that measure 9 by 11 and 1 piece that measures 16 by 11. So these will become your photo mats. Okay, I'm just going to put it all together quickly. So you would need to cut your photo mats before we begin as well. All right. Then for the title, I'm going to be using the word Merry Christmas from our grey board called Season's Greetings. Right, I'm going to color mine using distress paint. The colors that I chose to do this with is Barn Door and Black Soot. And then I'm going to apply some embossing glaze, lumberjack plaid. So to do that, you will need clear embossing ink, right? You will also then need a heat gun, an embossing tool to heat set the glaze. You will also obviously need a paintbrush to apply the ink and the paint. And then the only other thing, I've used some gesso to prep my grey board, all right? You don't have to. If you prefer to just work directly onto the grey board, that's fine. But I like to add a layer of gesso first. I think it just makes everything stand out a little bit. Right, so I think for now that's everything that you're going to need. I'm going to clear up and we'll be back to technique the title. So I'm going to start by using some Barn Door to paint my the grey board. And just apply the... I always like to put the first layer on thin, a thinnish layer. Just going to go on and add some more. So you can see here and there, because of the gesso, some of the paint is moving around, because I haven't dried that first layer 100%. So I'm getting, like, if I hold it closer, it's making a lot of little cabonkles, but I will sort that out. So if I hold this a little bit closer, you can see that some places the paint's going on dark, some places there's that white coming through. Okay. I'll try and get it the same effect here. Just here and there, I'm just brushing, trying to move some of the paint underneath the drier paint, because it's not 100% dry, with some of the wet paint, so that I can get that almost pinky color coming through. Right, so I'm going to heat set that quickly. Okay, I haven't dried it so that it's bone dry, but it is dry enough, I think, now to take another layer of paint. So I'm just going to mix up what's left on my mat and just go in and add that extra layer. I'm not putting on a very thick layer, just a thin layer so that I can get the color to work for me. There we go. I'm happy with that. And I'm going to just keep my brush in here in case I want to use it again. I don't want it to dry, and I don't want to put it into water. Alright. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of... Okay, so you just need to put a bit of black soot distress paint on your mat. You need another brush to pick up some of the paint. I'm going to take off some of the excess because I'd like a reasonably dry brush. And you can see I've pulled the paint out so that if I need to go back, I don't put it into too much. I can just pick up a little bit if I need it. And all I'm going to do is hold my brush at an angle and just pull it along. And for me, I've still got too much paint on there, so I'm just going to take a bit more off. And then just pull it along the edges. So you kind of hold your brush almost flat, and then we're just going to pull it to get a little bit of paint going down the edges of your title. Okay, and then I'm going to do it to the side. So we'll take off a little bit more and do the same thing. I want some of that barn door to show through, but I also want some of the black to come on to give it like a very distressed kind of look. Right. Then we're going to turn it upside down, and you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to pull that from the bottom, from the side. Now you can understand why I haven't wet my other brush, in case I need to come back in and add a little bit more of the barn door here and there. So I'm just pulling the brush, and then again from the side, so it almost looks like I've dirtied the title. And you can go through and you can see exactly where you need to add a little bit more. So what you could do, because I still have some paint on here, if you weren't 100% happy with that there wasn't enough of the barn door coming through, you could easily then just, with the same thing, hold your brush at an angle. I haven't added any extra paint to this. I've just left the paint that's on here, and I'm just going to drag it over, and it will cover up some of the black and soften it a little bit. And the same thing, I'm going to do it from all directions, and I'm just using what's left on the brush from with the last application. There we go. Right. Pop the black one in as well. And there you go. You can see how nicely that has come out. I have a piece of white cardstock, white paper here. It might show it up a little bit better. There we go. That does. So you can see how nice and distressed it is. Like on the M, there's that nice distressing. I'm going to run through slowly so that you can see how nicely, just by pulling the paint across just a little bit, the dry brushing that paint on, the really awesome effect you can get on the title. Alright, so you can just clean up any excess paint that you have on your mat. My next step then is to add the embossing glaze. I like to add mine with a brush. You can use your dabber if you prefer. I just find that by using the brush, I definitely know that I've got ink everywhere. So I'm just going to use with what's in the lid. Get a nice amount on my brush. Okay. And then just apply that, a layer of glaze. Just paint that onto the surface. If we don't get cover everywhere, we can always go back and add some more embossing glaze. So that is the nice thing about the embossing, is that if you miss a spot, it's not a problem. You can always go back and add more. It's not like a one and done kind of thing. I make sure that I've got enough ink, and then just work it through really, really well. And I know that I've got it everywhere and that I haven't made any blobs of ink in the little grooves of the letters. So just work that in really well. And if you think you've made a mistake, if you think you've got some ink in the grooves, just use the brush, go like put it in and just go around in those little corners. It should then disperse it. Right, so there we go. We've got the glaze on. The layer of clear embossing ink. You'll need a piece of paper to catch the glaze. Right, so it's important to just tap, make sure that there's nothing that can come off. Right, sometimes some of the glaze gets caught there, and if you don't tap it, then it all comes tumbling out. I'm going to go in and add my glaze. The reason I'm using the embossing glaze is because it is translucent, so it's going to, all my paint effects that are underneath here will show through. It's not going to hide it. Just making sure that every area of my grey board is covered. I haven't missed a spot, okay? And then we can just pick that up, take off any excess. And see there, looks really good. We'll put that down. Alright, we'll put this back in and close the container and put it aside, because I'm well known for knocking these things over. Right, so we're just going to put all of that out of the way. Just do a little cleanup. Okay. So now you're going to need your embossing gun, right? I am going to run through without it on so that it doesn't make too much noise. What I'm going to do is wait for the gun to heat up, and then I'm going to start to emboss, add the heat, and I'm going to work up and down like this. As the glaze melts, I'll move on to the next bit. I am also going to go back in and just move the glaze a little bit while it's still melted, and kind of put it where I want it to be, so it makes like little globules. Alright, so I'm going to start that, and I'll see you in a bit. Right, there you go. You can get a nice, if I can try and get it to focus, you can see how the glaze has intensified some of the color, and then by letting it overheat a little bit, just by adding that extra heat, the glaze separates from the gray board and some of the coral color comes through. You can see it gives you like a very distressed kind of look. It's a really awesome effect. I like the way that works, and you will see how I've just kept a piece of scrap here so that you could see how nicely it's picked up with the color. Okay, so it's picked up the darker red in here and the lighter of the red, almost that corally color, and even with the stripy, it just works really, really well. Okay, right. One of the things that I find is important to do after this, because it may look like there's no glaze on my mat, so I just use a lint roller and then just roll it over my work surface to pick up any glaze that may have escaped that I haven't been able to get off. Right, so I'm going to clean up quickly, and I will be back to run through the cutting up of the pattern papers. I'll see you in a bit. Right, so you should have already fussy cut everything out, but just in case you haven't, I'm going to run through the bits and pieces that you're going to need. From Season to be Jolly, you're going to need this whole piece. You need to fussy cut that out. You will need this one to fussy cut. You will need the little girl and the little boy. Okay, and my little gift that we've cut out, the little tree scene, we will cut it up because we're going to use that. All right, so you're going to need that. You need this, Have a Holly Jolly Christmas. Right, there we go. That's all that you're going to need from this page. Right, from Sparkle and Shine, you should have already fussy cut everything out, so you need to fussy cut both of them. You are going to need from this page, I'll put this aside now. All right, so from this page and from this one, we need both the gifts, these ones. You need the two trees. Okay, we need both of them. I'm going to need both of these, only one of these, and then both of these. All right, from this piece here, I just want you to fussy cut off the top part of that, and we only need the one. All right, so that's from there. Okay, while you're at it, you can just fussy cut this piece as well, or you can just fussy cut this out. We have enough from there, but fussy cut that out. Okay, and then from this, fussy cut all of this out for the other projects, and then from here we're going to use, well, I'm going to use It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year, and it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. If you don't want to use the black, then you have the option to use it with the white. So there, It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year, and it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. So you can choose if you want to do in the black or in the white. All right, so that's that. Okay, then from, let me just try to find it, from Joy to the World, where you're going to cut this piece of paper over there. My suggestion is that you fussy cut all these out, so cut these out as a whole, and what you're going to need is the joy, and you're going to need this piece here. So the piece with the little tickets, you can fussy cut that out so that you have it like that. I just need that piece of it. Okay, and then this piece that we call Joy, keep that. We're going to use the other side. So my suggestion is cut all of this apart and you only need this one and this one, and the rest you can keep for the other projects that we're going to tackle later on. So just an overview of what you need, okay, just in case. So these are the embellishments, and just so that you know, the little boy and the little girl on the sheet that I asked you to cut out of, they are bigger than the little boy and girl on these sheets. Okay, so remember, I need the taller little girl and boy. There's that. Okay, and then when we get to assembling, I'll show you exactly how I cut this apart to be able to use it on my page. Okay, so that's that. So that gives you an overview of the embellishments that you are going to need. Okay, let's get started with cutting out the pattern papers. I'm going to show you where they go on the page as we cut them out. Right. So from your pattern paper called A December to Remember, I want to use this side. We're going to call this pattern paper number 1, right? There we go. So you're going to cut me a piece for the left side. My suggestion is that you actually cut a strip off that measures 24 centimeters. So cut a 24 centimeter strip across. From that, cut a piece that measures 6.5 centimeters, which is going to go somewhere over here on the left, and then you will be left with a piece that measures 24 centimeters, and that's going to go more or less over here. Well, I'll give you the exact measurements in a bit. Okay, so like that. For the next one, for your pattern paper number 2, that's where I said to you to remember, we need this piece, this Joy to the World, the cut apart. I've kept this little extra piece on here so that this then gives you a piece that measures 10 centimeters across, 21.5 centimeters down, and that's going to go in over here, and I like to carry it over, so you will be left with a piece that measures 5.5 centimeters across, 21.5 centimeters down, and I'm going to pop that in over there like that. Right, for your pattern paper number 3, we're going to use the other side of Season to be Jolly. That's this one. Okay, and you are going to cut. What I did is, if you have a look, so from here, I worked from the left side in. You're going to cut a strip that measures 26 centimeters. So this is 26 centimeters and 21 centimeters in, and then you're going to cut that piece to measure for the right side. You're going to have a piece that measures 6 by 26, and that's going to go over here, and the piece that goes on the left measures 15 centimeters by 26, and that's going to go over there. Right, so that kind of gives you an idea of where we're going with that. All right, I think I've got this upside down. I do. All right, so that's going to go like that. Okay. We will, if you have a look at your sketch there, the exact placing of the measurements is on the sketch. That's going to go over there like that. Then for your pattern paper number 4, that one is called Christmas Smiles. Okay, this one here. You're going to cut 2 strips. Because I want to use these pieces again, my suggestion again is that you cut this over there and cut it over there, and then you're left with this little piece in the middle. So that piece there and that piece there, so that we can still use these pieces elsewhere. All right, so these pieces for your pattern paper number 4, Christmas Smiles, is going to, there you're going to cut 2 pieces that are 5 centimeters by your 30.5, and we'll cut those down in a bit. All right. Right, so once you've cut the little strips, we're then going to cut them to the size that we need. All right. So I didn't cut them because it was easier for me to show you. So from your pattern paper number 4, for the left side, we need 2 pieces cut down to 12.5. So I'm going to cut that there like that, and this one here as well. Right. So we're going to 12.5. One is going to go this side, one is going to go that side, and then the little piece that's the 18 centimeter strip that's left is going to go over there like that. This is round about where we need to bring the photographs in so that it can help with the placement of everything. So I want one photograph over here. I'm going to place another one there, and then the other 3 is just going to run across something like this. All right, you can kind of see where we're going with this. Right, so for your pattern paper number 5, you're going to need the pattern called Countdown to Christmas. All right, so that's the one that looks like this, and I want to work with the stripes. Right, I cut off mine from the bottom, right, so that I still had so I cut off here so that I still have these numbers if I want to use them. So for your Countdown to Christmas, you need to cut 2 strips that measure 2.5 centimeters. Okay, and then we're going to cut you need 4 strips that measure 2.5 centimeters. Let me just get this right. Okay, so 4 strips that measure 2.5 centimeters, and then you're going to cut those strips as follows. For the left side, you need 20 centimeters across and your 2.5 down, and that's going to go over here. And for the right side, we need a 23 centimeter strip. That's going to pop in over here. Right. Just move that. It's going to go over there more or less. And then for the top, the same thing. We need the 23 by 20 by 2.5 goes on the right, and the 20 by 2.5 goes on the left. It's going to go in there more or less. I'll fix it all nicely for you in a bit. Alright, so there we go with that. The pattern papers are starting to take some shape. Then to me it felt like I just needed something to make the photographs stand out a little bit. It felt to me like they were getting lost. So out of the All Is Bright, so the pattern paper called All Is Bright, from this side we're going to cut, you're going to cut a 15 centimeter strip. Okay, and then for the left we need a piece that is 10 centimeters by 15. That's going to go over there. And then for the right you need the leftover 20.5. That's going to go over there. And then this to me will offset the photographs just a little bit more. I just felt like we needed something to make them stand out, and by adding this little piece just gave me exactly what I needed. There we go. Like that. You see, by adding just that one extra piece of pattern, the difference that it makes. Right, then the last little piece that you need to cut, I cut from this pattern paper, Holiday Favorites, right? I cut a strip from this section over here. I cut a little piece like that, that measures, it's 1.5 centimeters down, 30.5 centimeters across, and this little piece is going to, I haven't trimmed it yet because I'm still not entirely sure how much I want on the one side and how much I want on the other side. So I've left this as a whole, and I will trim it later when we start to add the embellishments to the page. So there you go. So that gives you an idea of where we're going with the pattern papers. And like I said, I just felt like we just needed that little something extra to go over there like that. Right, so the next thing we're going to then add are the embellishments. So if you recall with this one with the gifts, I'm going to try and put it together so that you can see what you need to fussy cut. Okay, and then that goes over there, sort of. Right, so you should have already fussy cut this out. So where the tree is, I need you to separate it there, and then where the tree has these 3 gifts, I need you to separate, cut out there, and then also then fussy cut this out over here like that. So that gives you a good idea. So the tree I'm going to put over here. We're going to put the Christmas tree more or less over there. Okay, and then I'm going to add the gifts behind it. Just make it so that it's going to look like we've we're just going to make the little tree a little bit smaller and have everything in this corner. So then I'm going to put that there. I'm going to add this one over here like that. Oh no, I think we'll just rather pop this in over here, something like that. And then we need another one of the Christmas trees that we cut out. And add that in over there like that. Alright. That's starting to take some shape, and then we can pop this one in at the top here as well. Or maybe we put it in the other side. Let's see. So we just want to build up our own little Christmas tree scenery. There we go. Pop that over there. Okay, so where this where there's that gap, we're going to pop the little tree in over there. I think that we must add both trees. I think it's going to look better with both, more than one tree. There we go, that looks better. Then we can add this in over here, I think. Yeah, so it looks like it's coming out from under there. And then we can add this little gift in. Let's add them in over here, maybe a little extra gift like that. So we'll do something like that. But you remember, I always say when I start to stick everything in place, the story starts to tell itself a little bit better, and it's much easier for me then to see where everything goes. Right, so then we're going to take it up to the top. We need the little girl. She's going to go over here. I'm going to tuck her behind just a little bit, and then I want to add in the sentiment. That'll go over here, something like that. We'll play around. Okay, and then I think this one here will look a little bit better to form part of this over there, so that it looks like there's more Christmas gifts coming down. And I think we'll do it so that it goes sort of behind this tag sentiment, something like that. All right, and then I'd like to repeat this Christmas gift feeling, so I'm going to add these gifts over here to carry it through, and then add one of these just to add, you know, to close that little gap over there. I'm going to add that one in over there like that. I think that's going to work out really nicely. And then if you remember, I asked you to cut this little piece. This is going to go in over here like that, something like that. And then I'd like to repeat this little cluster over here. I thought it would look good. So that's where this and this is going to come into play. I'm just going to slide this in behind here. I might actually even end up fussy cutting it out, we'll see. And then this can tuck in over here like that. Yeah. Something like that. I might have to fussy cut it out of there, but we will see. Maybe I'll just make the paper up a little bit higher, but that's kind of where, I know I'm going to hide that, but there we go. That's where we're going with that. And then I'd like to do something here in the corner, and that's where this is going to come into play. So I'd like to repeat the present idea and the little boy. All right, so something like that. All right. And then obviously I would like this to come into play over there as well. The Merry Christmas, my plan is to have it at the bottom here, but like I say, when everything's stuck, we'll be able to decide exactly where it's going to go. But you can see how nicely that is going to look on the page. And then I want to add in this, It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year, to form part of this. And then just to tie it all in, I'm going to add It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas just at the back here. So we might have to move that over a little bit, and we can pop this one in behind here. Again, I will probably trim it a little bit so that it all works out really nicely. I think that some of this needs to go further up, but like I said, once we start to stick, it'll start to look a little bit better. But this gives you an overview of where we're going with everything. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to put glue on everything, and then I'll be back to help you place the paper and then try and get this all back into place exactly where it's supposed to be. Okay, I will see you in a bit. Right, so we're going to start to put the attach the pattern papers to the background. I'm going to start with the stripe ones, which is your countdown to Christmas. I'm just going to get them in place first, and then we will start everything else. So we're going to start by attaching pattern paper number 5, and all I want to do is attach it 1 centimeter from the top of the page. Let's see, I'm going to attach one. I'm going to work on the right side of the page first, and then we'll move over onto the left. I find that easier for me. Right, so I'm measuring 1 centimeter from the top of the page and 1 centimeter from the bottom of the page. That's where these are going to go. Right. So the 23 centimeter strip goes on the right side of the page. I know that I'm not going to tuck anything under this, so I can put glue everywhere here. Right, let's go. I have already inked around the edges of all my my embellishments and pattern paper with ground espresso distress oxide. What I did is I sanded the edges first, and then I applied the ink. I just made the edges a little bit rough before I applied the ink. So I'm just making sure that this is 1 centimeter from the bottom of the page. There we go, that looks pretty good. And then we're going to add the other 23 centimeter strip to the top of the page. So we're kind of working from the bottom up. So this one is going to go 1 centimeter from the top of the page and flush against the center. Before I stick everything, I like to check that I've definitely got it straight. So I always go in with my ruler and make sure. See, not 100%, it's gone a bit skew. There we go. Perfect. Alright, so we can just burnish that in place. So that is your pattern paper number 5. The next one that we're going to add is your pattern paper, oh, I can't remember. We're going to add the dots. Okay. So this is, I think, Season to Be Jolly. Yep. So the piece that measures 6 centimeters across, 26 centimeters down, your pattern paper number 3, you're going to attach this one 2 centimeters from the top of the page. But because I want to slide something in underneath here, I'm just going to apply some tape, which I can pull off afterwards. Right. That I'm able to slide my pattern paper in, and this is going to then be attached 2 centimeters from the top of the page. I'm going to pop that in over here. So flush against the center. I made my other little mark too far down, and there we go. Flush against the center of the page and 2 centimeters from the top of the page, and I'm just making sure that that is flush against the center of my page and that I have my 2 centimeters. Perfect. Right, so we've got that. The next one that we're going to attach is the pattern paper, like that, the one that looks like this. I think it's your All Is Bright. Okay, no, a December to Remember, and this is the piece that measures 24 centimeters by 24 centimeters, and it's the one that's going to go in, almost made a mistake, it's going to go underneath this pattern paper where we've put the tape. Right, So what I want to do is I want to attach this one 3 centimeters from the top and 3 centimeters from the right. So I'm just going to make that mark. So this is your pattern paper number 1, a December to remember. Three centimeters from the top and 3 centimeters from the side. Remember, we're also going to slide something in underneath it. Okay, so we've got this one that's going to come in. Right, so this one gets attached 3 centimeters from the top and 3 centimeters from the right. So I'm just going to have to lift this up a little bit more to get it in. Right, I put my glue in. I didn't put the glue in shallow enough, it's too deep, so I'll just lift it. There we go. That's going to go in there. And we know that we've got this little piece that's going to tuck in underneath it, so I'm only going to put my glue up to there. Okay, and slide this in, get my 3 centimeters from the top. Where did it go? There. And 3 centimeters from the side. I get that first piece in, will be good. Make sure there's no glue here. Right. So I'm just going to move this down. To my 3. There we go. Double check. 3 and 3. Make sure this is 3. Go this way a little bit. Do it again. I lost my mark. There we go. So I think it's going to be easy if I just leave my ruler there. And it moved. Okay. We're going to attach that there. There we go. That's better. Make sure that it's 3 from the top. Yes. Okay. So we can just burnish all of that in place. Make sure it's nice and straight. There we go. Alright, and then luckily we put this piece of tape on here, so I can just use that then to attach this all in place. There we go. Okay, so the next one that's going to go on is your pattern paper number 4. Okay, so the 12 centimeter strips are going to be attached. I will wait to put this one in place. I'm going to put this one first. This one is going to be 5 centimeters from the top of the page and flush against the center. So we're going to attach this 5 centimeters from the top of the page, like that. And hope. Okay, so that's going to go in over there. We'll wait to attach this one. So we're going to attach pattern paper number 4, which is Christmas Smiles. Oh, I know, I'm sorry. This is the, I've given you the wrong, no, it's correct. It's Christmas Smiles, pattern paper number 4. I'm getting confused between this one. There's my mark. So flush against the center, 5 centimeters from the top of the page. Okay. Then this one is going to slide in under here, and we are going to attach this 5 centimeters from the top of the page as well, I think. No, this one is attached 6 centimeters from the top of the page. No, I lie. Sorry. It's going to go in there, go in more or less over there. This way is better. I think that's a good fit. This one is going to go 5 centimeters from the bottom of the page. And flush against the right of the page. Let's just slide that in there. Oh, wrong way. This is 5 centimeters from the bottom of the page, not the top. So let's just move that. All right. So I'm going to make my 5 centimeter mark, and then I'll just shift it down. There we go, 5 centimeters from the bottom of the page, and flush against the center of the page like that. At the center, the side of the page. There we go. And then just burnish that in place as well. Right. Then we're going to add the page All Is Bright, the piece that measures 20 centimeters, 20.5 centimeters across, 15 centimeters down, and that one's going to go 7 centimeters from the top of the page. Okay, so but remember now we need to attach this one at the bottom here as well. Okay. And we just need a little bit less coming through, so I would say about there. I'd like more or less, I think we can maybe shift this down a little bit. What do you think? Let's do, I'd like a little bit more of this to stick out. And remember, we need to be able to see this part. Yes, I think let's go with 7.5. Let's attach pattern paper number 1, 7.5 centimeters from the top of the page. And then just remember we do have some, we've got to slide that little piece underneath. So let's leave a little piece there to be able to do that. And measure our 7.5. There we go. Let's stick this down and get out the way. Seven and a half. I think that's a good distance from the top. It looks a little bit more balanced. I like that. And then I'd like this one. Let's see. That looks like a good amount. This one we can do, I think let's do 5.5 from the bottom of the page. Or maybe a little bit less. I think, yeah. let's see what, I think 6 centimeters is better. 6 centimeters from the bottom of the page. It gives me enough space then to add my title in. Right, so let's just push that in 6 centimeters. There we go. Right, I'm happy with that. I'm going to make my mark and then attach it in place. So we've got 6 centimeters from the bottom of the page. And then we can add this little piece in over here. Perfect. There we go. So that is all the pattern papers in place for the moment. I haven't stuck the photos down. We'll do that in a bit. All these little pieces that are lifting up, I'll go in afterwards and add a little bit of extra glue to make sure that it sticks on. So there we go. That is the side, the right side of the page done. Keep that handy because we'll need it when we start to add in the little bits to be able to line up with the other side. So my suggestion is always that you line up your page at the bottom, because when it goes into your album, it falls down. Right, so I just want to have it like that. I am going to measure and check, measure and check. So if you recall, we want to attach these strips 1 centimeter from the top of the page and also 1 centimeter from the bottom of the page. So we're using the pieces that measure 20 centimeters across, 2.5 centimeters down, and this is your pattern paper number 5. Countdown to Christmas. Right, so I'm going to attach this first one. Okay. I've measured my 1 centimeter from the top. I'm going to line my page up at the bottom. And then double check that this is straight before I burnish everything in place. That looks like it's pretty straight. It lines up nicely. You can then just burnish that in place. Then we're going to add the bottom piece. So the second piece of your Countdown to Christmas, or pattern paper number 5. It's going to go over here like that. Remember, I have already made my 1 centimeter mark. I'm making sure my page lines up at the bottom. My my craft paper. This is flush against there. That looks pretty straight. I'm going to double check it by taking it over. And this is pretty straight. Okay. There we go. Right, so the next pattern that we're going to add is this one. This is your Season to be Jolly. It's the piece that measures 15 centimeters across, 26 centimeters down, and that one's going to go in over there, and that is 2 centimeters from the top of the page and flush against the center. So here we go, we measure our 2 and 2, and remember we've got a little piece that needs to tuck in next to it. We've got to bring in this color comes in next to it, so I'm not going to put any glue down the one side. Just want to make sure, yep, right. You just want to leave a little space. And then we're going to attach that. Oh, it would be good if you line it up. There we go. So I've got my 2 centimeter mark, making sure that it's flush against the center, and then just double check by lining my pages up that it lines up nicely there and there. Right, I'm happy with the placement. I'm going to just burnish that in place. Right, and then this one, we're going to attach 3 centimeters from the top. Right, and it's going to go in over here like that. I'm going to slide it in like a mill, so I want quite a bit of it to show. So it's going to be 9 centimeters from the left of the page. Let's do that. 9 centimeters from the left of the page, 3 centimeters from the top of the page. And again, remember, we've got that other little piece that's going to slide in underneath it. Are we 3? Yes, 3 centimeters from the top of the page. Okay. So remember, I'm not going to put any glue down this side because I want to slide something underneath it. So here we go. I'm only going to go like halfway, and we're going to go find my 9 centimeter mark. There it is. Okay, so there's the one, there's the other. 9 centimeters and 3 centimeters. It is just that it's going to go under. There we go. There's the one line, there's the other mark, and then double check my 3 centimeters from the top and go up just a little bit. Okay, and then double check it that it's going to work, that I have it in line on this side. Line my page up at the top and the bottom, and it looks to me like it's right there and there. All right. So we're going to push that down, and then we're going to attach this one, which remember is that joy, and we'll attach it 5 centimeters from the bottom of the page, flush against the left of the page. If I'm confusing you, you can just refer back to your sketch. Everything is clearly marked and very easy to follow on there. Okay. I can stick this down properly because there's nothing that needs to be added. So this is going to slide under there. That's my 5 centimeter mark, flush against the left of the page. I'm not going to burnish it in place 100% yet. I just want to double check that it lines up. So check it at the bottom, and that this lines up nicely, top and bottom. Perfect. Right, and then we can then burnish everything in place. So that then is all of our pattern papers in place except for the one strip for the photographs. Right, not all of it, we've still got to do this. Okay, so we've got our little strips that need to go there and there, and then we have the pattern paper number 1 that needs to go there. I don't think we need to measure this because it's going to be pretty easy to line it up. As long as it's lined up at the bottom here, these little pieces are going to be easy enough to attach. So we need to attach the top and the bottom of this one, which is your pattern paper number, let's see, I have it written down and I keep losing my place. So this is the 12.5 centimeter by 5 centimeter. This is for your pattern paper number 4, or Christmas Smiles. It's where we cut off the middle part of the paper. That one's going to go there. And we're going to attach this one over here. Just want to make sure that it's flush. Then I have it straight. And then your All Is Bright, which is pattern paper number 6. Just going to line that one up with this one, nice and easy. There we go. everything nicely in place. Right, so the next thing we need to add are the photographs. Here they are. Right, so now you can see where these are going to go and how much better that's going to look now that everything's not moving around. Okay, so that is my plan for this, like that. I think that we're going to attach the photographs about, let's see, we do 9.5 centimeters from the bottom of the page. I think that's good. So I'll start on the right side and then work my way over to the left. So 9.5. Just remember that we still want to tuck a few things in at the top of the photographs. So I am only going to put glue up to here so that I'm able to tuck things behind. You can always go in afterwards and add some more glue or add some tape. Right. So 9.5 centimeters from the bottom of the page and about 1 mil away from the center of the page. Remember to hold it in place and then burnish. Your glue is still wet, so your paper, your photo mat might shift, so it's always a good idea just to hold it in place while you burnish. Right, so again, remember I want to add something at the top there, so I'm only going to put glue around there. This one I'm going to place about 2 mil away from the one on the left and find my 9.5 centimeter mark and attach that in place. And the same with this one. Remember, we've got tuck things. This one I want to tuck things at the top and at the bottom, so I'm only going to put glue in the middle like that. So I've got things going at the bottom and at the top. And again, there's my 9.5 centimeter mark. So it's going to be about 2 mils away from the other one. There we go. I just want to make sure that it's straight. The best way for me to do that is to hold it up in front of me and double check. Bring it down a bit. Right. Give that a good burnish. Everything's in place. So now we're going to attach the other side. 9.5 centimeters from the bottom of the page. Okay. Again, I'm tucking things at the top, so I'm just going to leave a gap. Alright, let's get this lined up. I have my mark, my 9.5. I'm going to attach this one again 1 mil away from the center of the page. You want to leave that gap so that it doesn't catch when you slide it into your page protector. Nine and a half. Shift it up a little bit. There we go. Okay, double check it. Looks like it's pretty straight. And then I've got this one to go. Again, I have things going in the top. Nothing at the bottom though. What goes at the bottom is going to overlap. And we're going to attach this about 2 mil away from that one. There we go. Let's do that. And there we go. That looks like we've got everything nicely in place. Right, so I am now going to add the little embellishments, my title, and draw my lines around. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put on some music and start to assemble the page. So this little piece that's going to go in over here, once I know exactly where my embellishments are going to go, I will then trim this, attach this, take it away, trim it, and attach it onto the other side. So I'm still not, I can only attach this in place once I have my embellishments in place, because this is what's going to link this cluster to this cluster, and I don't want to have a gap. So that's why I'm waiting to attach that piece in place. Okay. Right, so I'm going to draw lines around everything and then start to assemble my page. I will see you in a bit. And there you go. That is everything in place. I'm really happy with the way that it's turned out. The only thing that I would still now go and do is just add a few foam squares behind parts of the embellishments. Like I'd like the trees to be a little bit up, but I don't want the whole tree lifted. I just want some of it to lift up. So I'm just sliding in, not even taking off the backs. It's just to keep these up. These ones I'm going to leave flat. So if you're worried about, because we only put glue at the bottom of everything, if you're worried about it lifting, you can always go in and then just add a little bit of extra glue to keep it down. This one over here, I would also just lift a little bit. I'm just going to slide this in over here. Stick them in over there like that. It just brings it up forward a little bit like that. The same with the little girl. I'm just going to pop a few behind her hat and those presents. So I just want this piece here lifted like that. Just adds a tiny little bit of dimension. We can slide some behind here. Like that. And I think with this one, we're going to lift the one that's at the back, not the candle, but this one. I'm just going to slide this in over here so that it's a bit lifted like that. I'll do the same down the bottom here. I'm going to add some foam squares behind the little boy's hat so that he's a bit lifted, and then I can get my photo in there. And then the same thing with this. Just going to add the foam square there and one over here, and probably behind these presents as well, like that. Stuck to my finger instead of there. So there we go. So then that all just adds a little bit of dimension and interest to the page. So it's not a flat lift. I've kept the bottom part of the flat and just lifted parts, bits and pieces of it to make it stand out a little bit more. Right, I did draw lines around everything. The only thing I haven't drawn lines around are the patterns that have stripes and diagonals on. I chose to leave that unlined because they just add an accent. And then I have inked around the edges of my pages, of the background pages. I might at a later stage still draw lines around there. That is something I like to walk away and come back and decide if that's what I'm going to do. But for now, I'm very happy with the way the pages turned out, and I will explain a few things. So I have managed to create a visual triangle by using the same embellishment here, here, and here. So that gives me my visual triangle. The cluster, that I have a cluster in this corner and a cluster in that corner. I've tried to also keep the, even though this is a different type of cluster to this one, I've kept certain elements the same. So there's the little girl and the little boy. There's the little sentiment tag, and instead I used this little piece to balance it out. There's the present and the present and that little present. So I think that then ties it in together. And I like to embellish in like a very big cluster and then two smaller ones to balance it. To spread this cluster out, I dragged it out a little bit more, and this one I've condensed a little bit more, and in so doing add that little balance. And I'm very much what happens on this side should happen on this side. So here we have another little cluster where I've got the 3 Christmas trees, I have the Christmas presents, and then I have put in another smaller cluster over this side, which then I think balances this quite nicely. It balances the page art very nicely. Merry Christmas, I chose to separate it. I didn't want it on the little goodies. That way I could push them, put the Merry Christmas a little bit closer together. Right, I think that's about everything. I hope that you have enjoyed the workshop, and I look forward to seeing you in the next class. Thank you for watching.